Okay, she's through. Rough you. Hello, everyone. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I'm going to do just a couple of quick introductions of people in this room and then our host for the day, and we will move it on from there. Obviously, if you've joined this call, we hope you're here to learn about the SIU Alumni Association trip to Spain. And the neat part of this trip, I think there's a couple of unique things. Obviously, we have captured and learned to love the eclipses in Southern Illinois after having the opportunity to host 2 of them. So this travel abroad trip encapsulates the next total solar eclipse that is in Spain in August 2026.
I've never done a
And then the second very neat piece of this trip is also that it will incorporate the research team that is still a part of SIU who will join us for the viewing of the eclipse, and also a group of study abroad students and faculty that will be there for the eclipse as well. So I am going to kick this off. I just want to do a couple of quick introductions. My name is Molly Hudgens. I'm the Executive Director of the Alumni Association. I'm in the room with Michelle Dirks, who is our Director of Member and Student Member Services and Student Relations, and Caleb Hale, who is our Director of Communications. They're in the room with us. We are responsible for helping plan this trip to the point of where we handed it off and sought some help with experts who we're going to turn it over today. We also have an alum in the room, that's Mark Bradley. He was helpful in helping present us with this idea as something that our alums may be interested in, so we give him a lot of credit as well. A couple of other intros that are on this call. Dr. Corey Brevik is on the call. Dr. Brevik is one of our faculty members who will be leading the study abroad trip with our students. And then we also have Dr. Harvey Hinson on the call, who is part of the research team who will be on this trip as well. So just wanted to let you all know that this is without a doubt a collaborative effort on the SIU campus. It's really neat to see all of these parties come together, and for our alumni on this call, I hope it's refreshing for you to see that we really have a collaborative effort here as well. I then am going to turn it over to the person who's going to give you more information today. We were very fortunate to find and partner with a travel company called Academic Experiences Abroad. And they have historically focused on student travel, but also do an extensive amount of alumni travel as well. They have been an outstanding company to work with. We've really been impressed with the attention to detail, the way they've listened to our requests, and the trip they've put together. So I'm going to turn this over now to Jamie Andrew, who has been the point person that we've worked with on this trip. So Jamie, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, thank you so much for that very kind introduction. Thank you for the kind words. This normally never happens. My computer just told me my internet connection was unstable, but I'm hoping that was just a passing moment, and we're fine now.
Sorry, we will be monitoring the chat. So if someone has a question, you can either raise your hand or also feel free to drop it into the chat, and we will address it from there as well.
Perfect. Thank you. So I think I'm good now, but if for some reason I disappear for a second, that's why. Hopefully that won't happen. It's usually not a problem. So just want to give you a heads up. So yeah, so I'm Jamie. I'm the Associate Director of Academic Experiences Abroad, AEA for short. As mentioned, we do a lot of customized educational travel programs for universities. We work with undergraduates, we work with graduate students, and we also work with alumni. And we get really excited when we get a request for a program that has a really specific learning mission, and even more excited when it's an alumni program like this one, which is really neat. So I love the interaction and the experience with the students around the eclipse for this one. It's really cool. So I've gotten a lot of notifications of downloads for the brochure for the program from our We Travel site, which is great. I can start by sharing my screen. Actually, wait, I should also maybe just tell you 30 seconds about AEA. We have been working since 2005 doing customized educational programs, and we work in about 100 countries around the world. This year, we're running about 100 programs to a lot of different places, and we're really excited about this one. We send lots of groups to Spain, lots of groups across Europe. And I'm really excited about this itinerary. I think it's very, very exciting. So I am going to share my screen with you. Yeah. And hang on one second. All right. I think I'm gonna share my desktop because I got a couple windows to share. So all right, so hopefully you can all see the itinerary and the map. Can everybody thumbs up maybe if you can see it? Um, so we have got our trip planned for August of 2026 with the eclipse kind of right in the middle. I'm just gonna go kind of quickly through the itinerary to give you an idea of the flow, and then you're more than welcome to ask questions. I'm also gonna show you the landing page, the registration page, where you can register and sign up and ask lots of questions. So, and as mentioned, we worked together on this with the Alumni Association. And so, they had a lot of boxes they wanted to tick and things they wanted to include. And then, we kind of had our insight on what would work well and what would be good for the time of year and a diverse, collection of things to see and do. So the program and this document here you can download. I think a lot of you have probably already downloaded from the We Travel registration page. That was the link that was shared, has been shared, that I think a lot of you have probably seen. And I can put that in the chat too, when I'm not sharing my screen, the link to the registration page where you can download this. We like to try to make our itineraries really clear and detailed so you see exactly what's included each day. We don't have tons and tons of photos in there. I know the photos really help get a sense of what you're going to do. But the internet, you can Google any of these things and you'll probably find like 10 or more travel videos about any of these sites. So we like to be really clear about what's included. So you will fly into Madrid. And for this program, we are not including a group flight because in our experience, we've found that people really like the flexibility of booking their own flights, whether it's where you want to depart from, if you want to go early, if you want to stay late, if you want to use miles, all of those things. So our costs do not include the flight. We like to give you that flexibility for booking your own flights. But everyone needs to arrive on Saturday, August 8th. That's the requirement. And we can get into the details of that, later. But so arrive, we'll have a bit of time to check in, rest and refresh after your flight. And then there'll be a welcome dinner at a local restaurant near the hotel. This document, if you download it, each of the hotels have links. So you can see this right here. If I hover over it, it's got a link to the hotel's website. So you can just click on it if you download this on your computer and, want to look at all of those, which I would certainly want to do if I was thinking about going. And then we spend the day in Madrid the next day with a full day city tour, seeing lots of the different sites. I personally love food and cooking, and Spanish food is amazing. So there's a stop at the San Miguel Market where you can try lots of different things. We'll see lots of architectural sites and, historic cultural sites, and end the day with a cooking class where everybody will prepare traditional dishes and have them for dinner together, which is really fun. One thing I will throw out there is that the Spanish eat so late, and I am an early bird and I get up very early, and I have little kids, so we eat very early. And whenever I go to Spain, it's like, oh, you eat dinner at like 8 o'clock is the earliest. So it's very different than what we're used to. But it's fun. And then the next day, we head from Madrid to ending up in Salamanca. I have the map over here. So head to Segovia by private coach. The whole itinerary, you will have a private guide coordinator dedicated to your group, along with one or two staffers from the Alumni Association as well. So you have a lot of support. You'll have a local person, you'll have SIU alumni support as well. And so you really don't have to worry about, you know, taking care of anything. Everything is all taken care of for you. So you'll have a private coach also for the duration of the program with air conditioning, of course, to make sure everybody's really comfortable getting around. So we head up to Segovia. It's about an hour and a half. Explore this area. There's again amazing architecture that's, in the US. I live in Maine, I live in New England, and there's a lot of buildings here that are from the 17 or the 1800s, and people are always like, oh, very impressed by how old that is. But then you go to Spain and Europe and it's like, oh, this building's from 1200. This castle is from 1300. So that's always pretty awesome. So we'll spend time there, and then we'll continue on. You can see in the map to Salamanca, and spend the night there. We'll have dinner there and spend the night there. In the next day, we'll spend some time exploring Salamanca. Again, you can see here, I don't want to read the whole thing in detail in the interest of time. So we'll see lots of different cultural and historic sites, some walking, time for resting. We're, always conscious of everyone's needs for a little time to explore on your own, and or have a coffee at a cafe and rest a little bit. And then we'll head on to Lyon, and have dinner there and check into the hotel. Lyon is the location where you'll be connecting with the student group. And so actually that dinner that evening, we have planned to have with the current student group, which I think will be really fun. So that's sort of the first time you'll connect with them in Lyon. Then the next day, the 12th, this is the day of the eclipse, will be in Lyon. And we chose this city because that's where the student group was kind of planning to be. And there's also a lot to see there, and it'll be a really nice site for viewing the eclipse. So in the morning, you get to do some sightseeing, have a leisurely lunch. The Spanish love taking long leisurely lunches. It's quite nice. And then in the afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, we will make our way to a really nice park in the city, La Condamia. And you can see a few pictures here. We thought this might be a good location for viewing the eclipse. It's a really large park, so it's, acres and acres and acres of green space. We'll have a catered tapas picnic. So we'll have Spanish tapas, finger food. We'll have drinks, water, soft drinks, beer and wine, and chairs, seating set up for all of the alumni participants. The students, we won't have chairs for the students, but they're students. They're 20, so they can, they can sit wherever. They'll be fine. And so then everybody will kind of come together and hang out for a few hours and watch the eclipse, unfold, which I think, will just be really special. So the full eclipse is full totality is at 8:30 p.m. So the idea is to kind of really just relax and enjoy the evening there. Once the totality is done, then we have a transfer back to the hotel. And then if you're really on Spanish time by that point, you can go out and get some more food, some more drinks, or go to bed, which is probably what I would do. But yeah, so that's the plan for that day. And then the next day we have you heading up towards the coast because I feel like you gotta see one of the coasts, right, at some point. So you'll drive up north to Santander, and you'll see some beautiful coastlines along there. Visit a local winery to taste some regional wines and learn about their process, and then head to the hotel and kind of be able to kind of rest and relax and get dinner on your own. We like to build in some free meals where you can go out and explore a little bit and try, kind of whatever you're feeling. We found that if we have every single meal included, it's nice that the cost is taken care of up front, but it typically makes the program more expensive in the end because we have to have these kind of bigger sit-down meals with everyone, and you might not be feeling like anything big, or maybe you do want something, it's varying preferences. So we like to leave some space open. Of course, your guide coordinator will be there to make any recommendations, suggestions, can, say, oh, this is a great place right over here, you can go, that kind of thing. So you'll have lots of guidance for those meals where you're on your own. And then after that, I have all of your lovely faces here in front of my map. So there we go. Um, covering the side. So then from there, we'll head on to Bilbao, where there's some really amazing sort of contemporary architecture to check out. And then on to Burgos and the next day. And oh, sorry, I skipped a day here. Walk around San Sebastian, which is a really beautiful sort of coastal small city. And we'll do a walking food tour there where you can sample different pinchos, which are a regional thing. It's sort of like tapas, but it's specific to the northern Basque region, and have some wines to go with it, of course, because wine with the tapas and with the food. And then we'll explore San Sebastian a bit and then head to Bilbao, and then kind of rest up and, check into the hotel and get settled for the night. And then the next day, heading on to Burgos, which is here, and then walking around and seeing more of the city, the cathedral, the Gothic architecture here, and then at the end of the day, transferring back down to Madrid, where there will be a farewell dinner after you check into the hotel at a local restaurant, and the kind of evening to soak it all up, and then the next day is transfer to the Madrid airport and head home. So it's a nice big loop. You really get to see a lot of different things along the way. And then, of course, the eclipse and the connection with the students in Lyon is the main event. And then I can show you here. Let's see, I'm gonna make this bigger here. This is the link that I believe has been shared by the Alumni Association, probably with most or not, if not all of you. And it's via WeTravel, which is a registration page for group trips like this. It has a lot of the details of what's included. If you see this button here that says download brochure, then you can download that file that I was just referencing on my desktop with the itinerary. It also has details, basically all these same details here. So you can see we've included a program coordinator. We have 24/7 emergency support for the duration of the program. So in addition to your program coordinator who's with you the entire time, we also have a local team in Spain. So if there's even more support needed, for example, if a global pandemic decides to occur during your program, we're prepared for that, and prepared to help you with whatever you need. Knock on wood, that's not going to happen, but we like to be prepared. We also have included travel health insurance for the duration of the program through CISI. I'm always happy to provide an overview of exactly what's included with that, but it's already been included, but it includes like cancellation, delay, evacuation insurance in addition to health insurance. Very specific reasons trigger things like the cancellation and the delay. If there's like a death in the immediate family or like an injury that prevents you from being able to travel, things like that, then that health insurance can kick in if you're past, if it's right before you're about to go or that kind of thing. If your flight gets delayed or whatever reason on the back end coming back, that can help with some of your expenses. And then of course, if you have any health issues when you're abroad, there's coverage for healthcare with that. So I'm more than happy to share the details of that with anybody, who would like after they've registered. Accommodation, of course, is all included. The transportation from start to end is all included in the private air-conditioned coach. Again, we have the group airport transfer. So once everybody starts to register, we do ask that folks wait to buy their flights until the program has been confirmed with the minimum number of people, which at the very latest would be February 6th, ideally much earlier. But we do want to wait just to make sure we have met the minimum number of participants before people buy their airfare, just in case. But we're hoping for a full house, so hopefully it won't be an issue. And then some meals are included as well, the ones that were kind of mentioned in the itinerary as being included. So we've got daily breakfast every day, and then 6 dinners. The dinners all include 1 glass of wine or beer and table water, and then tapas and drinks for the eclipse viewing. The cooking class in Madrid, All the entrance fees for all of the activities have all been included. And then we've also included tips for the program coordinator, the local guides, and the drivers. We have not included tips for meals or anything beyond those things. Those are kind of at your own discretion. Tipping culture is not the same as in the US. It's not as much. And it's a little more kind of at your discretion. So, but we have included tips for the staff of our staff, basically. What's not included, international airfare is mentioned, any accommodation outside of the program dates, if you're staying earlier, going earlier, leaving later, any meals that were not listed as included, additional airport transfers beyond our sort of designated group transfer time, and then any additional tips beyond the folks that I mentioned. And so you can either book a double occupancy room or a single room. This is the cost per person. A $500 deposit is due, upon registration. We have the balance being due at February 6th. And again, we made that early on the earlier side so that it was early enough that people could start purchasing their airfare at that date, because then we would know that we had everyone kind of fully confirmed and on board. As I'm sure you're all familiar with the Eclipse logistics of an eclipse, accommodation is in very high demand in the path of totality in Spain. And so if you do want to go, you want to go, it would be great for you to make that initial deposit as soon as possible, because we are trying to secure the accommodations in Leon during the night of the eclipse, and it's very limited. So in order to accommodate as many people as possible, the sooner we can make that deposit, the better. Otherwise, it'll be pending availability. So, and then if I'm here, the Alumni Association is here if you have any questions, but when you feel like you are ready to book, then you can actually just click right here on book now. And this will all come up. So this is for a double occupancy room. So you'll be booking for 2 people. We don't have the option to book a single person in a double occupancy room because it can get a little hairy with roommates if you don't have a roommate to join you. We don't want to be matchmaking folks who, might not get along. So if you want to be in double occupancy, you can find a travel buddy, someone who also wants to go to share a room with you. The Alumni Association, you might have some, I don't know, you can have a spreadsheet maybe even, or I don't know, we can talk about that later. But then the other option is a single room. If you'd like a single room, it's a little more, but you choose that. And then you can pay the deposit. I'm not actually going to do the whole thing, but you get the idea. You complete all of your information here, and you might think like, wow, you're asking a lot of questions, but these are questions that we need for hotel reservations and also for meal preparations as well. Like there's questions here about, do you have dietary concerns, any medical or health concerns that you'd like to share? We ask this in order to best accommodate all participants. So if you have any like mobility concerns, or if you need a refrigerator to store medication, like all kinds of things like that come up very often on all of our programs. So that's sort of why those questions are in there. So we have, these questions here, and then I'm not going to fill them all out now, but you just say continue. And then there's a place where you can enter in your credit card information, and it will just charge you that initial deposit. The initial deposit is non-refundable. It's $500. And then the remaining balance is due, again, February 6th. You're welcome to pay it earlier if you would like. If you would like to pay in installments between now and February 6th, I can set that up for you if you don't want to pay the whole thing at once. But after February 6th, it is non-refundable after that point, because we need to really pay out the accommodations and the different land services in order to hold those. So, and also to be able to get the airfare and all of those things. So I'm guessing you all probably have some questions. Before I take them, folks in the alumni office, is there anything you want me to talk about that I didn't hit? I feel like I've talked for a while, so maybe other people have things they'd like to say.
No, I'll just reiterate a little of what you said, and there were a couple of questions in the chat.
Okay.
Obviously, For those of you that didn't look at the chat, someone asked about the number of students traveling. Our students will be doing an adjacent trip where they will be in Spain, but not following our exact same path to begin, and then we will all converge in Lyon to watch the eclipse together. We will also have dinner with the students that evening. There will be a maximum of 12 students on that trip. And then to go along with that, in order for us to make this trip as an alumni association, we do need at least 10 alums to sign up. And our maximum number on this trip is really 20. So we're looking for 10 to 20 alums on this trip. Obviously, we have, if you're looking at your screen, a lot of interest on this call. We've had a lot of interest. So we are just from your all standpoint of booking your trip and flights, are encouraging people to register as quickly as you can. But we obviously anticipate a lot of interest in this, and we appreciate you all joining and learning today. And for others that you think may be interested, this session is being recorded and people can watch after this as well.
There's a good question about clouds for the eclipse. That's a great question. Of course, we can't control the weather, and the cloud cover during the eclipse, but it is something we could keep an eye on. And if we were able to pivot, if it meant driving somewhere, we have, like I said, we have that private coach for the duration. So, our teams are pretty good at problem solving on the ground, on the fly, if that does come up. So
right. And for those of you that may happen to have been in Southern Illinois for our 2 eclipses, obviously there was a part of Southern Illinois during the first one that ended up in a little bit of cloud cover, and then there were parts that were not. We had bright sunshine for the second one, so that was great, but unfortunately we don't get to control the weather.
Yep. And the deposit is $500 per person. Yep, that's in there. And then thank you also for the details on Sunshine and Leon. That's really helpful, Corinne. In terms of the activity level, we try to keep it really accessible. So we would, like, if we have folks who are really eager to kind of keep walking and do more, then we could kind of be a little flexible and give folks who wanted to, like I said, kind of relax at a cafe, while the walkers wanted to keep walking, that kind of thing. Our guides are really good about kind of being flexible on the ground for those, but it's not designed with a ton of walking in mind. There will be some, of course, but we try to keep it as accessible as possible in terms of like a mobility standpoint. Yeah. Oh, I will put the We Travel link in here too. Here's the link to the page I was showing you. And if you go to that link, then there's a gray button on there that says download brochure. You can click on that. And we have one person who has already made a deposit, which is great. So we kind of assumed. Great. We were kind of thinking, if it were me, it's always nice to kind of see a face on the other side of something like this. So we're hoping that having this info session would be helpful in answering questions and making people feel comfortable with committing. So
there's a couple of other questions, and Dr. Benson, I can let you answer this, but the research part is really for our research team. We are not going to require our alumni to do any significant research other than anything that you'd like to read while you're on the trip. It will be our researchers that are part of our faculty and research team on campus that will be joining us for the eclipse and will be a great piece of providing information, but you're not going to have to research anything with them.
Yeah, that's right, Molly. Obviously, during the day, the research team is going to be on site in Lyon, but they're going to be doing their own itinerary. They're going to be doing their own thing, and they're not even part of the study abroad. So as you mentioned earlier, there are really 3 things going on that all comes together on Eclipse Day in Lyon. So it's a celebration
And there was a,
One of the questions I can't answer, Jamie, is there a beach on the coast? I'm going to assume yes, but I shouldn't be the one to answer that.
yeah, so it's obviously not like a beach focus, but San Sebastian, there will be a stop in San Sebastian with time to, that's where there's the walking food tour. And then the afternoon is free after that to get lunch and walk around. And I can just show you you can also look up San Sebastian as well. But these are just a few pictures. You can see there's like a beach that's just like part of the city. It's really beautiful. So you'll have time to explore and walk on the beach if you like there for sure. So yeah.
And then Carrie, someone asked the maximum size of the group, it's 20.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys oh, you'll have a solar telescope. Okay, cool. I was like, the telescope question's out of my purview, but somebody else answered that, which is great. So thanks, Corinne.
Know what they want to know. There must be more questions.
Anyone else have questions that you'd like to say out loud or put in the chat?
No.
I'm also going to put my email in the chat as well, so that if you have any questions about the itinerary, about details, you're more than welcome to email me. I'm sure you can reach out to the Alumni Association as well, but yeah, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them too.
I have a question. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. My wife and I were both alumni, and we went to Carbondale 2017 and also for the last Eclipse. And it was a great experience in both cases. But and we were thinking about going to Spain for the Eclipse next year. But we saw that there are better places to view the eclipse because it's going to be shortly before sunset. And if you were at the coast, you'd be able to see sort of like the eclipse followed by the sunset. And, you know, from a photography perspective, it would be much more interesting. So I was wondering how you picked Leon as the place for the day of the eclipse and not Santander or something else on the coast.
So I can jump in and answer part of that. If you go to the coast, you're going to get a cool event, absolutely. But the sun sets before the total eclipse ends. You'll see all of totality, but you won't see the entire event. And so we wanted to be somewhere where you get it from the beginning of the partial all the way till the end of the second partial. And so by being in northern Spain, we get the whole thing. And Leon is a university town. And so there are opportunities to connect with other universities and find a good, comfortable spot for us to observe and set up and be welcomed.
Okay, thank you. That's very helpful. So and maybe some elevated point in Leon. I don't know if this park is the best place or not, but it sounds like you're looking at
the pictures that she showed of the park made it look very tree.
Yeah,
That's
there's
the
a
word.
lot of hills and like lookouts.
Yeah, but there are some fantastic lookouts. If you do a Google Maps look, there's some fantastic lookouts that are actually you're elevated and you're looking in the correct direction. So we'll be able to look out over the terrain and see the eclipse because that is a concern. It is an evening eclipse. Being under a bunch of trees is not going to be helpful.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, well, it looks like you're on it. So that's good. Thank you.
I guess it's also worth saying we did this in 2023. We took a study abroad group to Australia for a total solar eclipse, and the students set up an interactive opportunity with telescopes and worked with the community. And it was amazing and exciting. And so the students will be doing a similar event here. Besides having telescopes, we'll have hands-on activities and things for to get a chance for those of you who've done eclipses, all the fun things you can do during an eclipse. We'll bring a lot of that with us.
That sounds great. Thanks.
Jamie, I think you mentioned this, but just a couple of things as we went through. I know we asked you some questions and it's come up. You know, obviously the hotels that you all have the relationship with and have booked are all high quality hotels that, you know, everyone should be comfortable in and, you know, accustomed to as you're traveling through Spain. Is there, just so if anybody had any questions on any of the accommodations, I think we were very comfortable with them. Is there any more you wanted to provide on that?
Yeah, I think again, if you download the brochure, you can see those links in there to check them out. I think the only thing that might be worth mentioning if you haven't traveled in Europe before is that things just tend to be a bit smaller there. So the hotel rooms are usually a bit smaller than the hotel rooms that we're used to in the US. The bathrooms might be a little bit smaller. We try to always use hotels that are very comfortable and, you know, they're going to be definitely of, you know, a very good quality. But just the buildings and the rooms are just a little bit smaller. But otherwise, I can't think of anything, you know.
Jace, and you have it right in front of you, so I'm gonna let you answer it. The amount per person?
Yep, I'll put it in the chat. It's 7,470 for twin or double. That's per person, 7,470, and then for a single room, it's 8,645, 8,645 for single occupancy. And if you want to do twin or double, then you need to be booking like both people at the same time. So it'd be like two friends or a couple or, you know, a parent and a child, adult child, you know, or I don't know, whatever. Two people who would be traveling together, just to avoid any unsavory roommate combinations. So.
I have one comment that everybody, of course, knows that you'll need a passport and it needs to be within a certain range of exploration, right, Jamie?
Yes, that's a very good point. So your passport needs to have 6 months of validity after your end date of your trip. So this one departing August 17th, 2026. So you would want to make sure your passport is valid through February 2027. Sometimes, you know, people take the risk if their passport expires 4 months later, but you can run into issues if you don't have 6 months of validity after your return, which isn't something that's like.
So Jamie, what about visas? Does anybody need a visa?
No, not at this time. There is the ETIAS, ETIAS. It's the European Travel Information Authorization System. They've been saying they're going to start doing it this year, but now they're saying they're going to implement it in the last quarter of 2026. So it's unlikely that it would be a thing. And even if it was, it's like something you do online. So we would help folks if they had questions with it. It would just be kind of like a €7 fee and you fill out a form online before you go. Very simple. But right now there isn't anything needed. And I would be surprised if it was needed for August of next year because they've dragging their feet with it a lot. And even if it is, it's not a big deal. We could help people if they had questions with it. But otherwise, no. Assuming everyone's a US citizen, which I think probably everybody is.
Maybe there was a question on the chat. What time does the return shuttle to the airport to Madrid, or is that not today?
Yes, good question. So we don't have a set time yet. Once the trip is confirmed with the minimum number of people and we kind of give everyone the green light to book flights, then I would probably give us a specific time then based on the flights that are available. Usually they arrive in the morning. But I would kind of just a wait. You know, flights are they change so much that at this point I hesitate to say a time until we're a little bit closer to actually looking at fares. They don't publish fares until 11 months prior to travel. So we're not quite there yet for next year. But I would guess probably something like, 11 a.m. or something like that, based on the majority of flights that are available. And where will the departure flights be out of? So it's in and out of Madrid. The program begins in Madrid and it ends in Madrid. So you are booking your own flight for this program. We are not booking the flights, so you can pick, your route. But the program will begin in Madrid and end in Madrid. If you want to just do a round trip ticket there.
Yeah.
Any other questions from anybody? Oh, and I should note that, well, the initial deposit is 500. I think I said that already. And if, like I said, if you're pretty serious about going, then I wouldn't wait just because of the hotel availability. But yeah. You're welcome.
If we don't have any other questions, I will say that obviously Jamie has put her email in there. You can reach out to her directly. Thank you for that, Jamie. You also can reach out to alumni at SIU, what's our email?
SIU alumni at alumni.siu.edu.
We will put that in the chat as well, and we would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
If you do lose track of any of these links, the information to that travel page that she showed you, it is available at siualumni.com, very near the top of the page there. So if you need to relook at anything again in the future and you don't have access to these links, go ahead and just go to our homepage and you can get to it from there.
So thank you for all of you for joining us. We hope that you plan to join us in Spain as well. Obviously, we have more than 20 people on this call, so don't hesitate to go ahead and register and reserve your spot for sure. Nice to see all of you. Go Dogs.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, Jamie.
Anytime.